Welcome to our series of Brave Hearts. We're talking to different soldiers of the military who have come in harm's way, but in many ways have come out smiling out of it, but not without personal injury. Colonel Pillay uh, was exposed to a grenade. His leg got blown off. He took four uh, bullet wounds of an AK-47, got hit on the back and on the spine with the butt of a rifle, but still came out smiling. And he has many reasons to talk to us and tell us about what happened on that fateful day and what he made out of it. Colonel Pillay, tell me, how old were you when it happened?
25 and going to be 26, 94.
And you'd already spent a few years in training at the Indian Military Academy.
I'm from NDA.
And National Defense Academy.
I finished 3 years in NDA, then 1 year in IMA, and about 5 years in 4th Battalion Brigade of Guards, which is one of the elite regiments of our army.
Right. And so what was the situation like on the day this happened? Where were you exactly?
It was around Republic Day, and we got information that they were planning to blow off a bridge and a microwave tower. The army had been pulled out to Kashmir. 8th Mountain Division had been pulled out and we deployed there. So there was a vacuum, and NSCN had taken over large parts of those territories. So we got some information that there were some militants hiding in a particular village, in a particular area, a general area. We never knew the area. So I was supposed to track them down, locate them, and capture them alive before they did any harm. So that's how I landed up in that village after 4 days of search in the jungle.
And this village is called Tamangong.
No, this district is Tamenglong. The village is Longdeepabram.
Okay.
So it's a very remote village even today. It's like even now there's a kacha rasta, there's no proper roads. So we went down the Barak River and came up and surprised them.
And what happened then?
I think it's just soldiers should be lucky. I went to the right house and I entered there. I made out they were there, and then they were hiding about 4 militants. So we entered, we intervened into the rooms. When I kicked the door open, I got a burst of AK-47 here on my chest. 2 bursts actually, and threw a grenade on my leg, which blew off on my leg. And then, since I was still standing, it came and hit me with a rifle butt. It was on my shoulder and my spine. And then the encounter took place for about an hour. I didn't lose consciousness, because it's out of fear that you actually die. When you're in control, you don't really. So as long as your adrenaline is pumping, you continue to be in control. So we saw the end of the operations. At the end of operations, I saw there were 2 children. Like the helicopter had already been called to evacuate me. It had already set course, and when it arrived, when the surrender took place of these guys, because I was losing my energy after about 2 hours, so I thought I'm going to blow off the tower, blow up the house. So then those guys surrendered. There were 2 young children who were wounded in the crossfire. Now, as a soldier, I know that from our training, we are here to defend the people that we are out. We are there to protect them. So there's no way, as a soldier, like many of us believe, we could ever prioritize our own lives over theirs, because we were there to protect them. So when I saw those kids, I thought if anyone deserved to live at that moment, it was those children. And I requested my CO and the pilot that, this guy should go, because I'm anyway not going to make it.
That's what you thought at that time?
I thought, because I lost a lot of blood, because there were 4 bullet holes here. My leg was blown off, and there wasn't any chance in hell that even if I reached, I wouldn't have made it. So it was like, so the CO said, if it's your dying wish, let it be so. So anyway, the villagers prayed for me and I recovered. I didn't have to lose my leg. I was lucky that the hospital that I was there, they evacuated me to Calcutta and had the best possible treatment. The army really looks after you. It picked me up right from where I was shot. I have no grouse, and I had a lovely time for 1 year in the hospital with all the pretty nurses and doctors. So I remember the doctor coming to me and saying, "What's your favorite sport?" I said, "Running." So because they were planning to amputate my leg if I wouldn't have been evacuated. And then it was a reconstructive surgeon. He said, "You better be good at running, because you got to be running away from all the attention you're going to get." So it was a good time I had in the end.
And those 2 children, what was their evacuation like? Or what were their injuries like?
One was shot in the abdomen, a multiple, and the other one had a shot in. He was very young, Adi Dingamang. Now he works for ICICI Bank.
How old were they then?
One was 6 and the other one was 11. Hardly old enough to know what the fight was about. So it is so unfair. For us soldiers, we are here to protect our citizens. And we love our country actually. And I think more important for us is that I've been trained to die. I've been trained to kill. And I may have an obligation to die for my country, but that obligation I couldn't transfer on to those young children at any point of that. Morally, it was I wouldn't have been able to live with that moral burden, even if I would have survived. To see those young children, their faces would have haunted me for the rest of my life. So I really felt good that I did whatever I could do to save them, to protect them, and then only I evacuated myself, because the IMA ethos is safety, honor, welfare of your country comes first, that of your citizens comes next. And I think I feel proud, like many others in my service, who place our country and our citizens first.
You went back to the village
I know.
a few years ago, right?
It is
Tell me what happened. Whoa.
out of the blue, patrol went there on instructions of Brigadier George, who was the commander then, now Major General. He just said, let's go and find out what happened to that village. So then he found there was a small little... Villagers remembered me very fondly, and they'd all renounced militancy. And then when they learned that I was still alive, they said, oh, we need to get him. So within about 48 hours, I flew in there. So it was nice to meet, go back. These are just wounds, it is memories, it is all forgotten. But to see those people back in time, 16 years later, in flesh and blood again, to be in the same place, to see the gunshots on the wall, that actually, it is still existing. The grandmother came and said, you wrecked my camera. I'm not repaired it as yet. Isn't it wonderful? So we went and met them. They treated me like family for having treated their own. That's so important. Humanity knows no language, no religion, no tribe, nothing. It's just a humane act, which I think I did, which any human being would do. And for them, I became family. And so when I went back there, I saw nothing had changed. It was like the clock had stood still in 1994. There was the same house, that village was not repaired. The church was the same, where I had kept my stuff before I entered the village. So I said I must do something. And there's a conspiracy. When you want to do something good, the whole world conspires with you. A lot of good things happened. I got the Home Secretary, G.K. Pillay, gifted a truck. Then Shanta Sheila Nair was the Water Secretary. She gave a water supply scheme. The Army Chief was General Huda, who was later the Army Commander. He cut a road immediately within 45 days with a bulldozer. He cut it, and it was executed. They had a road, they had water, they had electricity, everything coming. And then finally we wanted a blacktop road, so we had Mr. Palam Raju, who was a Minister of State for Defence at that time. I was in MOD that time, and he asked me, what do you want to be done? I said, I've got to get a road for them. But of course the environmental clearances in those UPA was very, very difficult. So then when I went and met Mr. Gadkari about it, he said, why don't you do it? So then this fellow said they can't make a state road. And he said, make it into a national highway. So they made 10 kilometers into Nagaland. And it is being made now, and the DPR has been done. So means the alignment has been cut, about 70 kilometers have been done, about 30 kilometers is remaining. So they'll have a blacktop 4-lane national highway connecting that village. It's going to be really... So it's not mine, it's about...
I saw some videos of you. When you met them, you were crying. And
I know.
What was that?
Soldiers are all emotional. I had nothing, no grouse against him. He was not my enemy. He'd not stolen my girlfriend. There was no reason to... I had no reason to feel angry with him or whatever. We were in a... It's like a boxing match.
Right.
I won, and I was the victor. It was well fought, red, blue's the winner, and we hug each other. So I think that was like that, and it was like very surreal for me to go back to that place. To be treated with a lot of love and affection for doing something that we all, are supposed to do.
Right.
We need to uphold, because human beings are distinguished by that fact that we have humanity in us. We are not animals. Even animals have seen some videos. You must have seen, a leopard feeling bad about it.
Yeah, about having killed.
Yeah. So it is natural. We have life, and we should be nice to people.
And those two children today are doing well. They have jobs. They work.
The villagers are very talented. In fact, I realize the level of education and their manners and their... It's so good that I asked Dr. Devi Shetty, who is one of the renowned cardiac surgeons. I said, can you take some children from that village to be trained as nurses? And we did a pilot project of these young children, and they're doing exceedingly well. Now he's agreed to take 5,000 of them from that region. And you look at it, they're going to be trained as nurses, and they're going to be employed there, getting about 40 to 50,000 rupees depending on the nursing that you take on. And imagine 40,000 rupees, or even a portion of it going back to the village where the per capita income is full. And the healthcare would improve, employment would improve, the road will change lives. Once the road comes in, where roads end, insurgencies begin, whether it is in Afghanistan or in India or in Central America. So where roads come in, insurgencies end. That's what we need to understand. And employment comes in, there would be no reason for them to they don't feel alienated.
Go the path of
Yeah.
violence and finding
Absolutely.
money for
Absolutely.
because they have nothing else. And that's something that you have to learn. Is you take a bad situation and you turn it around and you make sure that the best is delivered to the people that you work closely with. And people in the army come face to face with things like this constantly. So what Colonel Pillay made of it is something which is commendable, and we are going to continue the series of the brave hearts of the Indian Army, and we will keep coming back with more. Thank you, Colonel Pillay. This is, it's an effort which shows, and on the ground, these people are gonna have the advantage of you having gone back and given back to them. So you made a bad situation into a really good one for them, and good luck on this. And continue joining us on this series.